Well, I know. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Well, come on, welcome aboard. Indiana Sports Beat coming to you here on this Wednesday. It's January 13th from the Golf Club Eagle Point Studios, of course. Brought to you by the fine folks at Andy Moore Honda Bloomington. 0% sales event going on right now. That's never happened before. Get out there and get yourself whatever kind of Honda you'd like, because from the number one Honda dealer in Bloomington, it's crazy. Lots to get to today on the program. Zach Osterman from Indy Star is going to join us. Look forward to talking about putting Indiana football season to bed as Tom Allen, Coach of the Year, American Football Coaches Association Coach of the Year, National Coach of the Year. We'll be talking about that. We'll hear from Coach Allen on that, as well as Indiana taking on Purdue tomorrow night. And the rest of the Big Ten, Michigan, are they going to run away with this thing, man? Well, I thought there was going to be a 5-6 loss season in the Big Ten. Hell, are they going to lose? They haven't yet. That talk about more. Kyle Neddenriep from the Indy Star will join us as well. And Jordan Hulls as well. Live from Germany when he can get on with us. But plenty to get to. But like I said, Tom Allen, National Coach of the Year by the American Football Coaches Association. ESPN yesterday came out with their way too soon top 25. But importantly for Indiana, they're in their top 10. And I know the AP poll came out the day before. The final AP poll came out, left Indiana at 12. I think that the ESPN poll is for next season is fairly accurate. Indiana has right now upwards of 19 starters returning. That's right. I said 19. That doesn't include the kicker. So you want to make it 20? Out of what would be, I guess, 23. That's crazy. You get Michael Penix back healthy. You got Ty Freifogel coming back. You've got transfers to fill in the holes that you lost and actually increase. Now, you're looking at very, very real possibilities of Indiana playing on College Game Day, hosting College Game Day for the only the first time since that season opening game against Ohio State on a Thursday a couple of years ago. But this would be the real deal, man, on a Saturday. And you open the season. Unfortunately, it's on the road because this is probably going to be something that they will look at. Indiana at Iowa. Iowa's going to be a top 12 team. You got to top that. It's got spot, and that has to be the top matchup of the opening season. I can't imagine not. But then 2 weeks later, the more intriguing matchup, Cincinnati, young upstart Cincinnati, Luke Fickell's squad comes to Bloomington. How did that happen, man? You talk about just scheduling luck. That's a definitive top 10 matchup right there. If Indiana could get by Iowa, now that's a very interesting look for College Game Day as well. You're only 3 weeks into the season, and two of the Indiana's first three games are probably College Game Day scenarios. Not both. You're not going to get both. But one of those two, I would be very surprised if they do not have College Game Day at one of those two. And preferably, of course, Indiana-Cincinnati. I think that would be better for ESPN because that's two schools that normally do not get College Game Day love. Be interesting to see. Also going to be interesting to see fans back, hopefully. Back by then, the vaccine will hopefully have run its course and we'll have gotten through this. What's the fan response going to be from Indiana fans next year? Especially to get College Game Day. That'd be cool. Very cool. A lot to look forward to. Hit us up on the Andy Moore hotline, 812-269-6367. Ryan did. He said that Michigan basketball is rolling. Completely dominated Wisconsin last night. Yes, they did. As you know, I'm only about 15 minutes from the campus. I'm sure they are feeling good. I'm sure they are. Yeah, Michigan, man, we'll talk about that later with Jordan, but they're undefeated, man. That's tough to do in this league. Of course, a lot of games to play. They're not going to finish undefeated. I understand that. But to get a start like that in this league, that's important for so many reasons. A, you're winning, but B, your confidence level can only get better. You're already starting out at confident level high. Confidence is a gigantic thing in this league this year, especially when the games are homogenized. There's no home and away. There's no more home and away. I was thinking about this last night. Imagine, just think about free throws. You're just shooting against an empty backdrop. You're going to tell me that's not a hell of a lot easier than having 50,000 or 15,000 people waving their arms and waving noodles and whatever else they used to do? Absolutely, it's easier. So there's just no disadvantage to you on the road. And sometimes I think it's been an advantage for home team or road teams who can seemingly bring more energy. I've seen it happen. We've seen it happen at Simon Scott Assembly Hall. But having that confidence, man, that just gives you that much more energy on the road, wherever you are. Michigan is rolling. Certainly is. Ryan was right. Tim also hit the Andy Moore Honda hotline, 812-269-6367. He said, this was in regards to, I think, my tweet on Tom Allen. He said, yes, it is. That's a big one, Coach of the Year. That's gigantic. That's National Coach of the Year status, man. That's a lot of positive attention for Indiana. He's looking to fill his DC position. He's taking a little more time to do that than normally. I think that may mean he's actually considering outside candidates. I don't know about that. We'll find out. But Tom Allen talked about winning that Coach of the Year award yesterday. Noah, let that baby roll.
Fellow coaches in this country. And as I talked to Todd Berry, even about it here yesterday, it's just the journey that you go on. Started all the way back in high school. And when I was a high school coach, that's when I first went to the AFCA National Convention with Coach Dullahan. He took our staff there, and I'd never attended it before, and I've never missed since. And so just to be able to be a part of that as a young high school coach and sit in on all the different presentations and the Coach of the Year presentations and the banquets for that, and to be able to listen to those coaches talk and just look up to all those guys and then to start at the Division III level and then to work our way up and NAI to all the way to the SEC and then ultimately to the Big Ten. So yeah, it just kind of takes a chance for you to just kind of sit back and reflect, and you just think of all the people that were part of helping you get here. And I, said that even yesterday, and just the coaches that hired me, both the high school level and then on into college, when Chris Creighton was the first coach to give me an opportunity to coach college football at Wabash College. And then Hugh Freeze hired me at Lambeth, and school I'd never even heard of before going there. And then, had a chance to move on and get rehired by Chris at Drake, and then back with Coach Freeze at Arkansas State and Ole Miss. And then Willie Taggart gave me my first shot at being a Division I defensive coordinator at University of South Florida. And then the dream opportunity to come to the Big Ten in my home state, where Kevin Wilson asked me to come be his DC in 2016. So it just makes you think about all those things and the journey that you go on and all the people that helped you get where you are. And just so thankful for my wife and our kids and all they sacrificed. And I've mentioned that in the past, and just thank the good Lord above just for all the guidance and direction along the way. And I think about my dad too, and just all that he's meant in my life. And when I had a chance to call and tell him about receiving this award, it was just such a tremendous time together. And he knows what it means, and he knows the individuals that have won it in the past, and the guys that he's looked up to, and just special for a coach's kid and somebody raised in this profession. So just proud of this team, and just really blessed. And yeah, you want 2021 to be a great springboard into our future, and obviously 2020 has been one that a lot of people would like to forget for a lot of reasons. But man, sometimes when life's the hardest and things are the most challenging, that's when sometimes the greatest things have a tendency to happen. And that was the case for us this year through all the adversity and all the challenges. And it gave us a chance to really, find out who we are and what we want to become as a program moving forward. So just thankful and blessed to be able to be in this position, and just want to use this momentum and all that it kind of represents for this whole, because this is a program award. This is Indiana University award.
All right, I guess that was it. But I was talking about it was a university award, school award. He's thanking his coaches, his players. But that's a gigantic award to get. It's big for Indiana. It's you've seen what Indiana football is doing now. These transfers that are coming from Florida State and from Ole Miss and from all these different Oregon, from all these different places coming to Indiana. When have you ever seen that? You didn't. You haven't. But it's going to continue. And that's the thing. That's why Indiana can compete next year. Normally, everybody that had the opportunity to leave would be leaving to get out because there's nothing to stay for. If they've got a shot to play in the NFL, they'd be gone or wherever. Be gone. Move on. That's not the case anymore. There's something to play for here. There's something worth staying for. Not only that, when those guys that left did leave, boom. They did in Ohio State, a big boy team. They filled that hole like that with equal talent and the backup. That's not what Indiana's been able to do before. They can now. You've got 19 starters returning. You're a top 10 team. You're going to be a top 10 team to open the season. The value of that alone is immense. The value of that alone in name recognition. We've talked about that so much. If it doesn't say Oklahoma on the jersey or whatever, it matters. Well, making Indiana matter, that helps a lot. But it also is gigantic on where you're going to end the season. Because now you don't have as far you have to climb. It's a lot easier to struggle when you're on the ladder. It's a lot harder when you're on the ground. And Indiana spent most of the time on the ground trying to get to the ladder. Man, they're already on it, and they're on way up, a lot of rungs up, and it helps. And you win that first game against Iowa, you solidify yourself. You win that game against Cincinnati, you've given yourself blow absorption. They're going to allow you when you lose a game. If you lose a game, it's not going to hurt you nearly as bad as it normally would. And that's what's happened to Indiana in the past. And any love that they would give, the first sign of trouble, bam, that balloon gets popped. Zach Osman's going to join us. Looking forward to talking more about Indiana's football season and the way it ended and the way it's going to start. But more importantly, Indiana basketball taking on a Purdue team tomorrow night that both of these teams are trying to fight to get up to this mid-level of the Big Ten pack. And both of these teams need this win to do that. We'll talk about that. Kyle Neddenriep will join us later. Jordan Holz as well. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat. Brought to you by the great folks at Andy Moore Honda in Bloomington. Got a 0% sales event going on there right now. Make sure you get over there. Get yourself a brand new Honda of any kind. And this is the only time you've ever been able to do that with a 0% down. Also, the fine folks at French Lick Resort and Casino, they're waiting on you, man. Casino's open. The hotel is as well. Can't wait for golf this spring. We'll be back with more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this. Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Hey, this is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We're now a part of the Rivals Network. TheHoosier.com is where you'll find complete coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, as well as coverage of the Big Ten. Simply go to TheHoosier.com and sign up. It's free. You can also catch Indiana Sports Beat Radio there each day at your convenience, or you can find it any place you podcast or on this station each weekday. If we're not on the station where you live, we should be for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. The 2021 golf season is just around the corner. Book your next outing or get your membership from the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Just call 812-824-4040. And whether you're playing golf or not, you'll want to check out the new Psalms Clubhouse. It's open to the public for lunch or dinner, and the food is fantastic. Call 812-824-4040 for reservations or tee times. The Golf Club at Eagle Point and Psalms Clubhouse. A winner every time.
Does your bank offer the personal service of a community bank combined with big bank products that you expect? I'm Dane Chandler, Banking Center Manager with Banterra, and with our bank, you get the best of both worlds. Our easy-to-use mobile app includes conveniences like mobile check deposit. We offer competitive CD and money market rates, smart mortgage options, and unmatched business products and services. Switching to Banterra is easy. Stop by our locations to learn more. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The college and pro football seasons bring friends together, and Leroy's Tavern is a place to watch all the games every week with the NFL Sunday Ticket while enjoying $1 Busch Light drafts every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday. Leroy's Tavern also features a $6 daily lunch special from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Friday, featuring a sandwich, fries, or onion rings, or a 7-inch pizza and a non-alcoholic drink for just $6. Be part of the karaoke fun every Friday and Saturday night. Leroy's Tavern, a West Side tradition for 50 years at 2659 Mount Vernon.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
And I feel the time's a ways to go.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you here on this Wednesday. It's January 13th. Zach Osterman's joining us. Is Zach with us now? Not with. Zach will be joining us here soon. Looking forward to talking to him about Indiana taking on Purdue tomorrow night. A win that pressure-wise, Archie needs. He's 0-7 against Purdue. I thought it was 0-6. He's actually 0-7 against Purdue. And Trevor, you gave me a stat a minute ago. What was that?
Yeah, if Trace Jackson Davis leaves next year, like a lot of people think he will, then Purdue will officially have more Rivals top 100 recruits in their lineup than Indiana. And I don't know the last time that happened, but it's been a while.
Certainly something to keep forward to look at. But yeah, very important for Indiana. But not only that, they just need to win. You need to win at home. You need to win. It's a rival. You've got that aspect of it. But also, it's just another Big Ten game that you just have to try to find a way to grind out and win, period. They're all tough. And now you've added a few extra bits to this with the pressure of it being Purdue, of Archie being over against Matt Painter and the Boilers. And people want to see that change as well. So they're looking forward to that. Zach Osterman from the Indy Star joins us now. Zach, how you doing, man?
Hey, sorry about that.
Oh, all good, brother. All good. So I was just talking about Tom Allen, and we had played his clip, winning the National Coach of the Year. But what struck me is that listening, he was thanking people, but Willie Taggart and Hugh Freeze and even Kelvin Wilson, the names that in his background, all those guys have gone on to have some big success. But I don't know that any of them are going to eclipse Tom Allen.
Well, you never know. I mean, it's I think one of the things that you're reminded of when you hear coaches talk about that is I think we tend to think of coaches as these sort of individual entities because we, unless we're doing sort of coaching tree stories, we write about them specifically in their journey and, what they learned and their philosophies and things. And you forget that really it's not hard. You don't need more than 2 or 3 steps to draw sort of comparison points between, one coach and another, that as much as coaches move around, as much as coaches, look at Tom Allen as an example. Literally, I think a new job every year for about 5 years, and then was only at Ole Miss 3 years before he got the job at South Florida, and then only at South Florida 1 year before he came to IU. And that's not a knock on Tom Allen. That's common. It's a lot less common to see a staff stay together for as long as, for example, Indiana's has, than it is to see coaches move. And I think that, hearing him talk yesterday, it's just a reminder that the coaches always, this happens a lot in coaching. You wind up with a lot of different sort of mentors, or at very least, if you want to say influences, on, who maybe kind of helps you form the principles or the foundations of the way you go about doing the job.
Yeah, and he's certainly you can tell talking to him, he values all of them, and he took something from each and every one of them. But he's used it in such a way that very unique, but it has catapulted him to the top of the industry. Which the bigger thing for me is I see these polls come out. We saw Indiana finish, I think, 12th in the Final AP poll, but more importantly, the ESPN top 25 way too early. And yeah, it's way too early, but I think it has them right where they should be at number 10. The value of that alone for this program is immense. Starting out the season as a top 10 team is just crazy for this program.
Yeah, obviously, there's always going to be some moving pieces. Does Indiana make some surprise big addition in recruiting? I don't think, unless I've missed something, Jerome Johnson has made his decision on whether to stay or go. It did seem like he was kind of leaning toward going in the build up to the draft, or not the draft, the bowl game. But I would expect Indiana to be somewhere in their top 10, top 15. I think Indiana will have to reset expectations a little bit, at least nationally. I think at the same time, there are going to be some genuine questions to ask about a team that suddenly doesn't have Watt Fillier, doesn't have Jamar Johnson, two of your, most sort of steadiest impact players on each side of the ball. But one way or the other, I think it is just kind of another small step. And the reality is that, and I say this all the time, and I'm sure people think it's boring. I'm sure people think it's annoying, but I genuinely believe it. There are very few big steps in football. You deal with such large numbers and such things on such a grand scale that it's if you're going from 0 to 80 miles an hour, you're probably cheating pretty badly. It's about just being able to consistently keep putting one foot in front of the other, and then every once in a while stopping, looking around, seeing how much the landscape has changed, recognizing what you've accomplished, and then using that to keep pushing you forward up the ladder. But I think this is just kind of another step in that for Indiana.
And I agree with that, especially, and it's also helped or hurt college football keep the Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson trifecta up at the top. It's so hard to get them out because once you get there and have that machine rolling, which they do, it's hard to chink that machine. But something has to change with the college football playoff. They have to open it up somehow. And I think that will bring the change that we need simply by doing that.
Yeah, I think, listen, you wouldn't have found a more ardent anti-playoff expansion person than me maybe 2 years ago. I thought it watered the sport down, or the postseason down. I have long believed that exclusivity is part of what makes college football fun. That the sort of the contrast of college, where yes, you literally can win one game and that may wind up submarining your entire hope of a national championship, and the NFL, where obviously several teams make the playoffs. We've seen plenty of wild card teams make runs to conference championship games, Super Bowls, whatever. I've always thought that juxtaposition worked well for everybody. It was a little bit of the best of both worlds. But I think we can all recognize now that, if we live in the real world, we're not going back to the BCS. We're not going back to a poll-determined national championship apparatus. And the playoff is just becoming too much of a closed shop. I think there's only 11 teams, so they've had the playoff for I think 7 years now. And that's 28 total spots, and only 11 teams have filled those. And when you look at the teams that are typically just outside, it's not like we've almost seen, teams jump up. It's, I think this year the number 5 team in the country was Texas A&M. Right after them was Oklahoma. In past years, we've seen Ohio State finish right outside. We've seen an SEC team finish right outside. I just think it creates a climate wherein it has just managed to further entrench the best teams in the country, and I think a way of doing things that tends to reward those teams over others, and I just think, I wouldn't want to go crazy with it. I wouldn't want to turn the entire bowl field into a playoff. I don't think that's a good idea, but I can see a lot of the arguments for 8 now that I perhaps could not before.
Yeah, hopefully we can find a way to get there. That's been the biggest problem is finding a way for them to cut loose of what they're doing. But we'll certainly hope so, and we'll see as we go forward. But the future looks bright for Indiana football regardless, with 19 possible returners coming back next year. The DC, the defensive coordinator, Tom, seems like he's taking a little bit more time this time around to get this. And it's a luxury that he has. I don't know if he's going to hire from within for this position. I still haven't heard a lot. It'll be interesting to see. That's kind of what he does, but it's worked for him. I understand it. The relationship thing has worked for him. It's worked for this program. So it'll be interesting to see who he brings into that position.
Well, and again, that's something that I think, it's not uncommon. Now, I think Tom Allen has been, as much as he talks about fit and culture and things like that, I think he has maybe adhered more closely to a policy of just making sure that, anyone he brings in on staff, he's very comfortable that they're going to, kind of keep pulling everything in the same direction, so to speak. And you don't really blame him for that. You look, listen, I think the culture he's instilled has clearly been a big part of the reason for Indiana's success. But that said, it is interesting. You're right. I don't think it was a week last year before Nick Sheridan was promoted to offensive coordinator. Now, I will say at the same time, when I say a week, I mean a week from the bowl game. Forgive me. I think there had been a feeling for a while that Sheridan was an obvious sort of, next step for Indiana. At offensive coordinator, Kalen DeBoer, very early on in his time at Indiana, was pretty openly telling people within the program that Sheridan would be ready for an offensive coordinator job very soon. And this was obviously, Kalen DeBoer had been a head coach at the NAIA level. He'd been an offensive coordinator at, by that point, 4 different schools at the Division I level. So, this was somebody who kind of knew what he was talking about. And I don't, is there somebody like that on this defense that maybe is a little bit on the staff already that maybe it's a little bit harder to say. But I also think too, with the coaches convention, I assume it's virtual this year, and therefore I would imagine it's not going to be nearly as networky as it normally is. I think there's no rush in the sense that it's you've got tons of institutional knowledge on that defense of how Tom Allen wants to run it, not least with Tom Allen himself. It's not like you're losing anything right now, especially when you can't have recruits on campus and stuff like that anyway, in not having a person in that job, for the next couple of weeks at least. I don't blame him if he's taking a little bit of extra time, and we'll just see where it goes, I guess.
Yeah, he's earned the right certainly to do that, and I think that's best for the program. Basketball-wise, on the hardwood tomorrow night, Indiana taking on Purdue. A game that every game's important, of course, but it takes on a little bit of added importance. It's a rival. You're 0-7 against Matt Painter. A little bit added pressure there. Not that you need any more in this Big Ten season, but there's a little added pressure in this game.
Yeah, well, and I think I heard you kind of talking about it as you came on. I mean, Archie Miller has not beaten Purdue yet, and that's one of those things that just quite frankly, I think you get a grace period in any time you're taking over a new job, but that obviously doesn't last forever, and it just kind of starts to become one of those things that can kind of build on you and can kind of become a stick that really people just beat you with over and over again. And even beyond that, I would look at the schedule Indiana has upcoming. You look at the KenPom ratings. There's not a single team left on Indiana's schedule outside the top 60 in KenPom. There's only one that's ranked lower than 44th right now. That's Northwestern. And this stretch in particular, especially given what we saw last night from Michigan, is going to be particularly difficult. After Purdue at home, Indiana goes to Michigan State and Iowa, then hosts a Rutgers team that looked really good early in the season, scuffling a little bit now. Then has to go to Michigan, which is suddenly the best team in the conference, kind of hands down. Then home to Illinois and Iowa. There's a lot of hay to be made there. If you're Indiana and you could go 4-3 in that stretch, then you would be in a golden position from an NCAA tournament perspective, because there would be quality wins there. There'd probably be at least a couple away from home, or at least one maybe away from home. We'd see. But by all the same accounts, that's a stretch where you really need to get off to a good start. You can't set yourself behind the 8 ball starting that 7-game stretch 0-1, because if you do, you could have some real issues as you get to the back end. Those 3 games at the end in particular, on the 30th, the 2nd, and the 7th, at Michigan, and then home to Illinois and Iowa. You want to feel like you're coming into those riding a little bit of a wave, not like you're coming into those desperately needing wins, because that's not a stretch you want to enter feeling like you need wins.
You mentioned Michigan, man, not only the hottest team in the conference, they're one of the hottest teams in the country. And to do it in this league, I talked about doing that for them. That's got to just – because you need confidence. Every team has to have confidence, because I don't think there's really home and away games anymore this year. It's just pretty neutralized. But when you have that kind of confidence level that they have to have right now, that's going to make them even more difficult to stop. And, man, they're a tough load right now. They are playing very, very high-level basketball.
Yeah, I think Hunter Dickinson. Listen, I picked Hunter Dickinson to be Big Ten Freshman of the Year. I think he's even surpassed a lot of people's expectations in that regard. I think he's 5th right now in the country in KenPom's Player of the Year ratings, which if you look at those, it goes Luka Garza, Trace Jackson Davis, Ayo Dosunmu, Jared Butler from Baylor, and then Hunter Dickinson. So if you want to – Trevion Williams from Purdue is also in the top 10. So if you want to get a sense for – just another sort of piece of evidence for how difficult the Big Ten is. You got 5 Big Ten players in the top 10. I think Shawnee Brown has been really big for Michigan. They've undeniably come, I don't want to say completely out of left field. Again, you couldn't maybe count on Dickinson being necessarily this good this early. You also had questions about losing Xavier Simpson and how they were going to handle point. That obviously hasn't been a real problem. But, what they've done this season, they're 11-0. Wisconsin is certainly their biggest win, but, quietly, not even that quietly. They struggle with Penn State in their Big Ten opener. Ever since then, their margins of victory in Big Ten play are 11 points, 19 points, 25 points, 23 points. They're top 11 in the country in adjusted offense and adjusted defense. If you take that to conference only numbers, they're 2nd in the conference in points per game. They're 1st in the conference in points per game allowed. This is a balanced team. It's a strong team. It's a team that understands how to play to its strengths. I think unsurprisingly, guys like Wagner and Livers are really, really good. I would have expected Michigan to be good this season. I don't think anybody would have expected them to be this good. But last night did feel like a real statement of intent. That game wasn't even – they won by 25 points or 23 points, and that game wasn't even that close. I think the league was 40. And that's just, to do that in Big Ten play, period, is remarkable. I'd love to know the last time that just happened at all in a Big Ten game. But to do that against a Wisconsin team that won a share of the league title last season, that is very much a league championship contender again this season, that has a ton of experience, a ton of institutional knowledge built in. I mean, you got 5 seniors at the top of that Wisconsin roster. To do that to them is pretty remarkable.
Absolutely. Zach, what do you got coming up next that the people need to know about?
Oh, geez. I mean, just more of the same, really. I mean, it's that time of year. I mean, it obviously we churned out all sorts of good stuff around the bowl game, as everybody did. But I think now it's just locked into that basketball grind. I mean, it always sneaks up on you a little bit, but you after tomorrow night, Indiana will have played 14 games, which means Indiana will be past the halfway point in its schedule. So, we are very much in the dog days of it now, but in the grind in terms of, figuring out what this team is, what it can do, and what kind of postseason future it has.
Make sure you follow him at the Indy Star. Gives you great coverage of all things Indiana. Be a subscriber. I am. Zach, I can't thank you enough for joining us and taking the time. I really appreciate you always.
Hey, thanks for subscribing, and thanks for having me, as always.
You bet, man. Thank you very much. Zach Osman from the Indy Star joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat, gratefully. We got plenty more coming up, plenty more to talk about. Jordan Hulls will be joining us later, as always. And Kyle Neddenriep up next as well, so plenty to talk about. The Indiana Sports Writer of the Year, no less, Kyle Neddenriep. Let's don't forget that. But, hey, I'd check out the great folks at Andy Moore Honda in Bloomington. 0% sales event going on right now. That's never happened. Number one dealer, Honda dealer in Bloomington. Your chance to get yourself into a great Honda, whichever kind that is. Tons of great ones. You can get on to French Lick Casino and Resort as well. They're waiting on you. It's open for business, man. I'm heading down there this weekend, as a matter of fact. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be looking forward to telling you about it next week. But plenty more to get to. Kyle Neddenriep joining us next here on Indiana Sports Beat from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
In Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway, Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Hey, this is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We're now a part of the Rivals Network. TheHoosier.com is where you'll find complete coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, as well as coverage of the Big Ten. Simply go to TheHoosier.com and sign up. It's free. You can also catch Indiana Sports Beat Radio there each day at your convenience, or you can find it any place you podcast or on this station each weekday. If we're not on the station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. The 2021 golf season is just around the corner. Book your next outing or get your membership from the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Just call 812-824-4040. And whether you're playing golf or not, you'll want to check out the new Psalms Clubhouse. It's open to the public for lunch or dinner, and the food is fantastic. Call 812-824-4040 for reservations or tee times. The Golf Club at Eagle Point and Psalms Clubhouse. A winner every time.
Does your bank offer the personal service of a community bank combined with big bank products that you expect? I'm Dane Chandler, Banking Center Manager with Banterra, and with our bank, you get the best of both worlds. Our easy-to-use mobile app includes conveniences like mobile check deposit. We offer competitive CD and money market rates, smart mortgage options, and unmatched business products and services. Switching to Banterra is easy. Stop by our locations to learn more. member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The college and pro football seasons bring friends together, and Leroy's Tavern is a place to watch all the games every week with the NFL Sunday Ticket while enjoying $1 Busch Light drafts every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday. Leroy's Tavern also features a $6 daily lunch special from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Friday, featuring a sandwich, fries, or onion rings, or a 7-inch pizza and a non-alcoholic drink for just $6. Be part of the karaoke fun every Friday and Saturday night. Leroy's Tavern, a West Side tradition for 50 years at 2659 Mount Vernon.
Hey, this is Jordan Halls, former Indiana Hoosier. Keep up with Indiana sports on Indiana Sports Beat.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Somebody's hiding, drowning my ice box.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Brought to you by the fine folks at Andy Moore Honda Bloomington and French Lake Resort and Casino. Now, Kyle Neddenriep joins us. Cal, how are Indiana Sports Writer of the Year, no less. Congratulations, Mr. Kyle Neddenriep. I'm in company of greatness.
Oh, thanks, Jim. It was nice just to be nominated. I don't know how these things work exactly, but really, even better is to hear from a lot of people that I got to know over the years, and people I haven't talked to in a long time, sending out congratulations, and it definitely felt good from that perspective. And I don't know, I've awards and stuff like that, you just never know and never expect them. You just kind of hope to do your job and do right by people, and it was cool though. I appreciate you saying that.
Absolutely. I'll tell you exactly how it works. You do the great work that you do, and this is what happens. Very well deserved. There's not many people that could even compete with what you do, but it's a hard job. People really know. I think my job's hard, but I know how much harder it is for a writer. I know how much more there is to do, how much more research, how much more travel. There's more to it. It's just hard. It's a hard job, and I wish people really knew the difficulties that goes behind the sacrifices that are made, because it's just not all glitz and glamour. A lot of people think it is. It's not.
No, it's it's a weird job. I mean, it is. I mean, and it's something I've done for 21 years now. I was 8 years in Missouri, Springfield, Missouri, which is where I went to school. And then, about 13 now here, which is hard to believe, but that's, and covering high school sports. Sometimes you feel like, it's a grind sometimes. There's times where you feel like, man, it's just a mountain of work, and how am I going to get to the stories I want to get to? And you're out covering games and trying to figure out how to send a story from McDonald's, or how am I going to get a connection? I can't get an internet connection. You're sending from your car, or from I've sent from behind the counter at a McDonald's, to be honest. One time there, I could write a story about all the crazy places I've sent stories from, or filed or written from. But and sometimes you feel like people don't even notice you, or are paying attention to what you're doing. So I've definitely been there. I'm sure we all have been. And, I've stared at a blank, file and wondered how I'm going to fill that file in 15 or 20 minutes. And, it's just a lot of things like that where you feel like, you're just constantly trying to beat the deadline, and that can take it out of you. But it's nothing compared to what a lot of people do. Doctors and nurses and teachers and people who should be really rewarded for their work and what they do on a daily basis compared to what I do, because really what I do is not even, it's a drop in the bucket compared to those people. So I feel blessed to be able to write about people that have great stories. And, for me to get any kind of recognition, it's because people care about the people I write about. And I think they're the stars. And I think if you focus from that perspective, that's really, you tell their stories because they're important, not because the person writing it's important. And, I think if you keep that perspective on it, then you can do right by people.
Well, you do certainly a great job of doing that. Lately, Class 4A, Lawrence North Central, there was a battle. That was a heck of a game.
Yeah, Marion County tournament's underway, and last night that was a pretty good game for 29 minutes. Jason Gardner the first year North Central coach, and they were on the verge. 3 minutes left, up by 5, and playing really well. And it's a team that they're only 5-5 coming into that game, but had lost a lot of close games. And they had it going pretty well. They were hitting shots from the outside, which they hadn't done a lot of this year, and a lot of different guys doing it. But then 3 minutes left, and Lawrence North, they kind of flip that switch like they do a lot of times, and they're confident in those close games. They've won a ton of close games this year, and they improved to 10-0 with that win, and move on into the quarterfinals. And they'll play Lawrence Central, which congratulations to Al Gooden. Won his 500th game last night against Decatur Central, and had a great conversation with him last week, and wrote a story about him closing in on 500 wins. And he's the first black coach in the state to do that, which I think is a great achievement. And Al's not going anywhere. He'll probably get to 600 before all said and done. Or whatever, he's gonna do really well beyond even this season. But great guy, great coach. A lot of people have, I've never heard anybody say much negative about Al Gooden. That'll be a tough matchup for them. But they did play Lawrence North close a few weeks ago, and only lost by 5. So they're a little bit outmatched against Lawrence North, but I think they can take some confidence away from that one. But a lot of fun. Marion County tournament's always a great time of year. And then tonight, Cathedral and Carmel play each other too. So top 5 teams playing each other at Carmel, and that should be a great game as well. So a lot of really good matchups this week. Homestead went out and beat Blackhawk Christian last night, and both those teams were undefeated. So some undefeated teams falling by the wayside this week, but some really good matchups as well.
Yeah, I mean, the Marion County tournament, that's something that you always look forward to, because there's always tons of great teams in it. And sometimes how much of an indicator towards a state champion can this thing be a predictor of, Kyle?
Well, Doug Mitchell always used to tell me that winning county was as hard as winning a state championship. And, I would tend to agree with that, because you got to win 4 games in 5 days. And, they come kind of right after each other. You win on Tuesday, you got to play Wednesday, then you get a day off, but then it's Friday, Saturday. So it's kind of that tournament setup makes it hard. You can't really prepare very much for your next opponent. Kind of makes it fun too. But yeah, you're running into teams and there's always good stories too. Like Lutheran last night, they beat Roncalli. That's the first game they've won in the county in 10 years. So making the quarterfinals for Lutheran is like making the championship game for a lot of teams. So that's cool. There's so much history with the Marion County tournament. There's they call it the dope box. It's from the 50s, it started, I think, back in the 40s, maybe, or even earlier. And I've had a chance to rummage through that thing. There's all kinds of newspaper clippings and, different cartoon, drawings that were made of teams, mascots, and stuff over the years. And you could spend hours going through that box. So that's kind of a throwback to the history of it. And that box comes out along with the trophy. Who's ever holding the box that year brings it out before the game and has it out there. And Lawrence North is the champion right now, so they have it. But that makes it cool too. And I think there's a lot of people who appreciate the history of that, winning the county. And, there's some teams where, some years where, the state champion may come from Marion County, but they didn't even win the Marion County tournament. So, I don't know if it's I don't know if winning the tournament means you're going to do better beyond. And a lot of times you'll see a team win the county and then go out and get beat the next week just because they're so, they're so beat down by the what it takes to win it. But it's a great week of basketball. And the Friday night at Southport of the semifinals, I think is one of the best nights of the season. You get 2 for 1, and usually 2 really, really good games and 4 really good teams playing on that night. So after tonight, we'll know what that matchup, those matchups will be. And I think Lawrence North, you have to consider them the favorite, but I think some really good teams. I think LC is capable of pulling an upset on them tonight. And then Warren Central is a team, I think, on the other side of that bracket. They beat a good Perry Meridian team last night. I think they have a chance to probably make it to the finals. But then you get, teams like Pike and Brebeuf Jesuit and like I said, Lutheran's a Cinderella team. Ben Davis is very, very young, but exciting team that they'll have mostly coming back intact next year. So just a lot of good storylines that will kind of develop, and we'll see who makes it into Friday.
You've got Beech Grove taking on, but Dave's talking about those. Beech Grove's got an 8-2 record, but man, they're not quite as strong as I thought they were going to be this year.
Yeah, that was they were ahead in that game, most of the game last night, and Ben Davis was able to come back and sneak it out at the end. Beech Grove's tough. I mean, Mike Renfro, the coach there, they're a 3A team playing in a largely a 4A tournament, but not just quite. Ben Davis is still, even though they were 3-6 coming in, they're a big team. The interesting story with Ben Davis is Jaden Brewer is playing JV for them, and he'll come back and be able to play in the sectional. So their team will change, on the fly very late in the season. And, he's been ruled ineligible by the IHSAA, but, he's still a piece to the puzzle that they can add at some point. And, we'll see how that ends up coming together. But that little quadrant of teams there, that it's always interesting how the draw comes out. It's just a random, blind draw, kind of like the state tournament. But you end up with 4 teams there with Ben Davis, Beech Grove, Park Tudor, and Southport, who are all basically even. And Southport goes out last night, and they're a young team too, led by sophomores, and they beat Park Tudor for their first win of the year. But a very deceiving 1-6 team is Southport. They'll play Ben Davis tonight. And I think that game could go either way. And you could end up with Southport at 2-6 playing in the semifinals on their home court Friday. And, of course, this year not a great home court advantage because of the crowd sizes and things like that. But, that'd be a cool story in itself just to see if the Cardinals can make that run to Friday night.
Looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to making sure that they get through this season. We've seen college a lot of cancellations, but haven't heard of a ton with the high schools or Indiana high school basketball here of late. Most of them seems like we're getting most of the games in, which is great. Hopefully we can get this vaccine out, but it's going to be a while, I think, before these kids get that vaccine. The season would be over, I think, by then. But it seems like it's going along. I know we talk about it every week. But hopefully they can continue to do those things to keep these games going.
Yeah, I think we're kind of on that track. And like you said, I don't know what the basketball season I don't think is going to change a whole lot. As far as what we see, crowd sizes and kids being able to play on certain nights and teams having to quarantine. We only had one team in the county. There's a 16-team tournament. And Speedway had been out for a couple of weeks leading up to it, and they were unable to play in the tournament. So Pike automatically advanced. But I was curious or worried, based on the timeline of the county coming right after the holidays, pretty much that what that would look like. But only Speedway had to miss, so that's not could have been worse, I would say. And the city tournament's next week, so we'll see what happens with that. There's roughly the same amount of teams in that one as well, and that's always a fun time of year too, with Cathedral and Attucks and all those good teams in the city. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, from talking to people, I just I'm not sure. I just watching the news this morning that we had the highest death rate in the country yesterday, or total number of deaths anyway so far. But so hopefully that trajectory kind of evens out at least and heads back in a better direction here soon. But yeah, I don't know. It would have to take something probably from up above to stop anything from happening. I don't think since that will happen. I think we'll continue on through basketball season, at least at the high school level. I know NBA and college are having probably more problems because of their testing protocols, but high schools, there really is no testing protocol. So you just kind of teams quarantine or kids miss. But the teams continue on when they can, and they come back and start playing again. So I think that's what we'll see until the end of March.
Yep. What are you looking forward to tonight? I know I'm back out to the tournament, I guess.
Yeah, normally I would be at the tournament, and I was planning to do that, but then Cathedral and Carmel play tonight, so I'm going to take a quick break from the Marion County, and I'll come back to the county Friday and Saturday. But I'm going to go see Carmel and Cathedral play tonight. Cathedral is, their only loss is to Homestead, which no shame in that. That was a game Cathedral probably should have won. They were ahead late, ended up losing in double overtime to, Luke Goody and Fletcher Lawyer and that team, which, they've been on a rocket ship here. They haven't lost at all this year. But then, Cathedral hasn't lost since then. So they're only one loss, and Carmel's undefeated. So I thought I need to go see that game tonight. Should be a really good one. Carmel's mostly, had the control of this series over the years. And, after watching them on Saturday against Westfield, they really put together probably their best game of the year, won by 24 points. And Westfield was undefeated coming into that game as well. So really put the clamps on them. So that should be a lot of fun tonight, 7:30 game. And we'll also have an eye on, whatever's happening in the county, and we'll have the semifinal pairing set after tonight for the county. So a lot of good games in Central Indiana, and like I said, throughout the state this week. It's a fun week of basketball.
Looking forward to it. Make sure you give him a follow and keep up with it. He's the Indiana Sports Writer of the Year for a reason. Kyle Neddenriep joins us here from the Star. Buddy, appreciate you. Congratulations again. Have a good one. We'll look forward to talking to you next week.
I really appreciate that, Jim. Thanks for saying that, and we'll talk to you next week.
You bet. Kyle Neddenriep, appreciate him joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat, as always. Make sure you go to Andy Moore, Honda Bloomington, 0% sales event right now. And how about more to your door? It's easy. Just browse the inventory, lock in your price. You don't even have to leave. They'll bring it to you within 150 miles. Give them a call. 812-200-5907. That's 812-200-5907. More to your door from Andy Moore Honda Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. Hey, we got more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat. Jordan Hulls is going to join us next. Looking forward to that. You're listening to us, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Back right after this.
Not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Yes. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza.
You got the towel on the wrong
we
side.
all want to smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get.
When I pick her up, I got to put her on this side.
Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Hey, this is Jim Boyle with Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We're now a part of the Rivals Network. Hoosier.com is where you'll find complete coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, as well as coverage of the Big Ten. Simply go to thehoosier.com and sign up. It's free. You can also catch Indiana Sports Beat Radio there each day at your convenience, or you can find it any place you podcast or on this station each weekend. If we're not on the station where you live, we should.
How old is he now?
For Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
Over 2 months.
The 2024 golf season is just around the corner. Book your next outing or get your membership from the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Just call 812-824-4040. And whether you're playing golf or not, you'll want to check out the new Solves Clubhouse. It's open to the public for lunch or dinner, and the food is fantastic. Call 812-824-4040 for reservations or tea times. The Golf Club at Eagle Point and Solves Clubhouse.
What's her name? I forgot.
A winner every
Margaret.
time.
Margaret. Baby Margaret.
Does your bank offer the personal service of a community bank combined with big bank products that you expect? I'm Dane Chandler, Banking Center Manager with Banterra, and with our bank, you get the best of both worlds. Our easy-to-use mobile app includes conveniences like mobile check deposit. We offer competitive CD and money market rates, smart mortgage options, and unmatched business products and services. Switching to Banterra is easy. Stop by our locations to learn more. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The college and pro football seasons bring friends together, and Leroy's Tavern is a place to watch all the games every week with the NFL Sunday Ticket while enjoying $1 Busch Light drafts every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday. Leroy's Tavern also features a $6 daily lunch special from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Friday, featuring a sandwich, fries, or onion rings, or a 7-inch pizza and a non-alcoholic drink for just $6. Be part of the karaoke fun every Friday and Saturday night. Leroy's Tavern, a West Side tradition for 50 years at 2659 Mount Vernon.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Should plug this something.
Then I turned on the TV, and that's about the time she walked away from me.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat coming to you from the Golf Club Eagle Point Studios and Germany. Baby Margaret Hulls joins us on the program. How are you, baby Margaret?
Her podcast debut here. Yeah, she's doing great. She's
so
sleeping.
Sleeping right through it, doing a trooper. Jordan Hulls joins us, of course, now. But it's so awesome, dude. Well, I know you had 2 kids, but I know it's just always so special when she finally got there. What was it like for you?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like I forgot how small babies were at this age, even though Leo wasn't so long ago. But he's a little tank. He eats nonstop all day long, and I had to get used to being a little bit more gentle and those kind of things. But it's awesome that they're here. The chaos is, I'm not mad about it one bit.
Yeah, how much it just makes life so much better. I mean, life is pretty boring when you're sitting there not doing much, but the spice of life of kids, there's nothing like it because you can never predict what is going to happen when there are kids involved. 4, 5, 6, 7, 10-year-old kids. You can just not predict the joy, the problems, everything that comes out of that, but it's all great.
Yeah, the highs and the lows. You're so mad one second, and the next they say sorry or they give you a big hug or whatever, and you completely forget about it. So it's it puts everything in perspective for sure, and especially when you're over here by yourself for those first couple months or whatever it is, it's never easy. But when they get here, then it's you understand why you're doing what you're doing, and yeah, it just puts everything in perspective.
Well, it's so awesome to see it. But, I think it must have been a game back. Was the game you hit a game winner? Was that the game back? Have you played a game since then?
Yeah. No, yeah, that was the last game we had, and it was an ugly game. I don't know how we ended up winning it, but we found a lot. And you need those. We're first in the league right now, at 11-1 now, and a lot of our other games were kind of not that they were easy, but we played really well on both ends. Everything was just clicking, and then this last game was a little bit more difficult for us, and they did a great job. The opposing team did, but we were able to grind it out and come out with a win. And I was fortunate enough to read the shot that my teammate shot. We had 6 seconds left, tie ball game. Came the full length of the court. He shot it up. I saw it was going to be a miss and just followed it up and was able to get it and go up for a layup to win the game. So right place, right time, and rebounding for all these kids in the summertime kind of prepared me for that, being able to read where balls are coming off the rim.
Have you had game? I'm sure in your career you've had game winners before, but that was an unusual game winner. Have you had, I'm sure, last second game winners?
I have. It's been a while, to be honest with you, maybe since high school or something like that. But don't mind taking the shots. I've missed plenty of game winners as well, but I'm not afraid to take those shots at all. And fortunate that this was a layup, so it kind of made it a little bit easier.
It was funny just to hear, if you saw the video, just comes running in, was put himself in the right place at the right time. A little runner, boy, just kept on going right on out the stadium. The teammates had to chase you down to congratulate you.
It was
Fun
awesome.
stuff.
Yeah, it was awesome.
10 minutes up on the Andy Moore Honda hotline says, here this Stewart kid can play this season, or he's got 2 years of eligibility. Yeah, he can. We just don't know if he's going to play. Talking about UT Martin grad transfer, Parker Stewart from there, that will be a big help to Indiana. He's a shooter, but don't know when he's going to get in there to play. So until that happens, I guess there's not a lot to talk about, but they really need him. They could certainly use him right now, especially not having Armand Franklin. They could use a shooter, period, but down Armand, they can certainly use the help.
Right. And I guess they got to decide, and if they want him to come back now or rather have him for a whole full season, that's another thing as well. But they'll make the best decision for him in the program. And hope, of course, having another shooter out there, as we've talked about before with Stewart, it definitely wouldn't hurt. and with Armand. And I guess if he's not playing this weekend, then of course, yeah, all the help we can get would be great.
I talked earlier with Zach Osterman. Indiana got Purdue coming in tomorrow night. Obviously, every game in the Big Ten is a big game because they're all tough. They're all hard. It's a tough league, but Purdue is Purdue. You add that to it, and you have to add the fact that Archie's 0-7 against Matt Painter. You cannot ignore it, and it's the stuff that just continues to add up.
For sure, and you know how Coach Painter and his teams always play. It's going to be physical. They're going to play hard. They got a big guy down there in the post, one really big guy, and then the other guy is really skilled. I don't know their names, but I've watched a couple of the games or just fragments of them. One big can really pass the ball. He's more of a creator. So it'd be a great win for us at home, obviously against our rival in Purdue. But in this Big Ten and how tough it is this season, we need all the wins we can get and protect home court. Even if there isn't any fans, you still got to do that, and you want to do that.
Oh, my gosh, Michigan, they are on a roll. They are just rolling through people. Talking to Zach also about this earlier, they struggled in their first game against Penn State in the conference play, but since then, I think, won like 3 games by 11, and then after that, they've won their last 3 or 4 by 20 points or more. They're just destroying teams. I thought the Big Ten, to win the Big Ten this year, probably going to be maybe 5 losses, maybe 6 losses, just because of how stacked it is. But Michigan has somehow been able to separate themselves from the toughest, most balanced league in the country.
Yeah, I think what you just touched on, I think they're the only team maybe in history. I think I saw a tweet that's beat 3 top teams, top 25 teams by 19 points or plus or something like that, something crazy. But it's good for the league when we have more good teams, obviously, and new different coach for them and trying to figure out their way. But it just goes to show you never know what's going to happen. Anybody can be anybody any night. So for us, we need to do our part and get as many wins as we can.
We'll certainly see how that turns out. Ryan also hit us up from Whitmore Lake, Michigan, talking about that team, but he says Gonzaga. Is Michigan, are they good enough to compete with Gonzaga? Gonzaga is, they're almost machine-like right now. They look like Alabama football at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't gotten a chance to watch the Zags play, but you feel like every season Coach Pugh has, they hit their stride and they're just unstoppable in the conference. Maybe it's not obviously it's not as strong as the Big Ten, but the way that they play, the way they get up and down, they have great talent. They're well coached. It's hard to compare if they don't actually play each other. And the styles of play in the conferences is obviously different. So it's a little bit harder to say. And as we all know, in the NCAA tournament, anybody can beat anybody. So, it's hard to say that. But with that being said, having Michigan and not just them, anybody in the Big Ten, trying to compare them to, the best teams in the country, it's good when we have more than just a couple of teams from our conference that we can say that with.
I've talked that to me, there's not really a home and away game this year because when you go on the road, if you can bring enough energy, you completely diffuse anything that could possibly be done against you. You're playing in road situations. I know it's different from the collegiate thing is different than the pros, but what's that been like for you guys? Has it been that if you just bring your own energy, you're just fine because you don't have the people behind you when you're shooting free throws, doing all that, and there's no way that it's not easier.
Yeah, I think that's a huge advantage if you can be mentally tough and figure out the best ways to motivate your guys and yourself to get going and carry that onto the court, whether it starts 2 hours before the game or the day before, the whole week you're prepping for the game or whatever too. But going into the game a couple hours before through your warm up, staying locked in and ready to go and being, high volume or high character guys who are just going to, chat it up on the court, and the communication is key. I think that's where you're going to get a lot of these road wins. That's what you need when there are fans, but it becomes even more so right now without fans. You can really rely on one another, and there's the home team's not going to have that adrenaline rush from the crowd, going oohing and ahhing, and all the crazy stuff that happens, and that's not in the picture this year. So to stay focused and locked in, it's definitely helped us as a team over here in my experience. And I think the better college teams who are more mature and understand that, they're going to be better off.
When is that? When you have a road game, when do you just have to get locked in mentally to where you have that for the knowing that there's no crowd and it's a different scenario? When do you get into that mindset for a road game?
Yeah,
how far in advance?
It depends. I mean, it depends on the preparation time that you have for each game. If you have a back-to-back game, you got to be locked in, of course. But when it comes to a specific team and personnel, that kind of stuff, we have let's say we only have one game a week, which is most of the time the case. You're locked in the whole week, your opponent. So that gives you a little bit more leeway. You really can have their stuff down. And by the time, game day gets here, shoot around, you're locked in. You want to be relaxed. You don't want to be too uptight. But it comes really, for me, my confidence comes from my preparation and knowing my opponent and knowing, even maybe more importantly, what we want to do as a team to be successful against the opposing team. So for me, I've been obviously a little bit older than these guys have been through it. And I take my work very seriously. So I try and do the best I can to be as well prepared as possible.
Jordan Holmes is joining us here along with baby Margaret. Indiana Sports Beat coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. We'll be back with more from the Andy Moore Honda Bloomington show right after this. One more segment, we're out.
Oh, good. So Armand's for sure out, they said?
Yeah, I don't expect him to play.
Yeah.
Trevor, is Armand
on the
out?
northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, home burgers, and ice cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh
adjust the
daily.
volume on the
Whether you're
commercials?
meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza.
Can you
burgers,
adjust the
beer.
volume on the commercials so it's not so loud for us?
And that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs.
That does it.
I can either just mute it or turn it down on the Spreaker setting. I can't do it in StreamYard.
Okay, you can't.
Is the problem.
Okay, I got you. Oh, well.
Everything good
Trevor,
back
what
in
did you say?
Bloomington?
Yeah, I can't complain. The weather's not bad. The sun's out. It's cold, of course, but it hasn't been bad. It hadn't had that 10-degree hit yet. It's coming. It's coming, but got all of January and February yet, man. I'm like, oh, gosh. Because I kept thinking, it's been okay. I'm like, it's only January, man. You got January and February.
And then it's always going to snow in March.
Wet, sloppy, cold right before. Oh, hey, a buddy of mine at German American Bank that wants to talk to you about wanting to, when you're ready to do your deal. He's a big fan of IU, but he's with German American, and they do a ton of stuff here for IU. I'll send you his name.
Oh, okay, cool.
He's like one of their senior guys.
Oh, awesome, yeah.
But he listens all the time, and he knows that you're looking into once you get back to setting all that up. And he's all fired up. He was talking about it yesterday. I'm like, man, that's going to be a couple years away probably.
Hey, I'll take all the help I can get. Any support is awesome. American Bank. Hi. Hey.
So, Trevor, you said that you didn't know, you had not heard late.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything, but I know that at 10:30 he's got media availability. Archie does, so maybe someone will ask about that. He did say that Brunk will be back in 8 weeks.
Drafts every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday.
Wow, really?
Leroy's Tavern also features a $6 daily lunch special from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Friday, featuring a sandwich, fries, or onion rings, or a 7-inch pizza and a non-alcoholic drink for just $6. Be part of the karaoke fun every Friday and Saturday night. Leroy's Tavern, a West Side tradition for 50 years at 2659 Mount Vernon.
Former Indiana Hoosier. Keep up with Indiana sports on Indiana Sports Beat. Yeah.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you from the Golf Club Eagle Point Studios. Brought to you by the fine folks at Andy Moore Honda Bloomington. 0% sales event going on. You can also get more to your door. You never have to go anywhere. 812-200-5907. Get you taken care of. AndyMooreHonda.com as well. Jordan Hall's with us, along with baby Margaret. Her first appearance. Awesome.
Yes, sir.
International appearance at that, no less. And she's coming to you live from
man.
Germany. She's already worldwide. She's 2 months old and she's worldwide. Awesome stuff, man. Indiana's got Purdue coming up. What do they have to do to win this game, Jordan? They've got to get things off the schneid and get this offense going.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it, a couple weeks in a row now. I think when we can get out, run, get defensive stops, use our speed, use our quickness. We got to get easy transition buckets, and I think that's going to open things up for us. Maybe force them to do something different. But it's going to, like I said, it's going to be a hard-fought game. It's our big rival. They're not going to come in, without swinging. So we need to be ready for that first punch and be able to stand that. Also, I think with their bigs, Trace is a pretty mobile guy. If we can get those stops, get him out and running in transition, that's going to be to our advantage as well. Open up a lot of different things if they have to collapse on him, and maybe we'll get a lot of easy open looks on the outside from that as well.
Trace Jackson-Davis has been logging a lot of minutes. Big Ten Player of the Week here after those last 3 games. Which he logged an absolute ton of minutes, but he scored a lot of points as well, doing a lot of work. Race Thompson coming around a little bit lately. He had 11 points in the last game. They need better guard play, of course, continued guard play. Rob Finney may have been shaken up a little bit. We'll see tomorrow night how that turns out. Anthony Leal, he really is taking advantage of his opportunities, man. And you just love to see that when a kid gets a chance and they step in there and step up. And he's pretty much done that here in the late when any opportunity he's been afforded.
Yeah, I mean, you got to. He's working his tail off, and he's got to understand and just to stay ready, be ready for the opportunity, like you're saying, and come in and do what you do. Don't try and do anything crazy. Don't try and do anything that you can't do. Just come in, knock down shots, play as hard as you can on defense, and make winning plays. That's what we need from Anthony for sure. So I was glad to see him get that opportunity, and hopefully that just continues. Not only Anthony, if it's anybody else who may not be playing as much, once they get in, you got to try and make the most of it. And I also, speaking of Rob, I think when he's aggressive, we're much better off getting into the paint, trying to create for others. Don't be afraid to shoot the ball. Like you said, we need our older guards to step up and not be afraid to take ownership. And, you've been there, you've been around, you know how this league works. So they need to go out there and show that as well.
Yeah, and Trey Galloway, who's been very active, I think they need to see him try to score more. He's been facilitating a lot. He's very active with the ball. He moves around. He gets in there. He's drawing some fouls, but I think he needs to get to the rack a little bit more because he's very adept at it. He's not as good a shooter as Anthony is, so I think that he needs to find his points elsewhere.
For sure, and I think like you said, he's not as good a shooter as Anthony. He has more of like a set shot. He needs more time and space to get that thing off. But, I love what he does, other aspects of his game. He gets in the paint, he creates for others, which is what we need. But for him, teams are going to start realizing that if he doesn't take those open threes, they're going to close out short to him and take away his drive because everybody knows that's where he's at his best is when he's attacking. So when he does get those opportunities, don't be afraid to go up there and challenge other people at the rim. Put the refs in a tough spot. Maybe draw a couple fouls, get the other bigs in foul trouble. Those are some big components that you can harm the other team, especially with Purdue, who likes to have their bigs in the game. So that's just to our advantage as well. So if he's aggressive getting to the rack and then creating for others and keeps doing what he's doing, then he'll be fine.
Christian Lander is another. I would not be shocked at all to see his development continue as the season gets later because you have to remember he reclassified. He's younger. Right. You did not have the pre-conference season that you normally would have. So he's just way behind as far as experience, just as far as time. And the only thing that cures that is time. But I would not be surprised to see like we saw Anthony kind of step up here we're almost in mid-season. So it was almost a midway point before he got his legs. I would not be surprised for that to happen at the latter part of the season for Christian Lander.
Exactly. I mean, I can't imagine being his age and being in college. I was a toothpick as it was as a senior, but to completely be out there a year early. But like you said, not having those pre-conference, as many pre-conference games, he's a very talented guy. I think we're going to need him to step up. And let's say he just plays 10, 15 minutes. In those 15 minutes, trying to get 2 or 3 assists, hit a couple shots and just create for others. I think that's the big thing for us. We can't just go play a one-on-one or pass the ball around the perimeter and then expect to give the ball the trace at the elbow and for him to score every time. Like that's not going to be a winning recipe. So to have Christian Lander come in and do his thing, and we all know he can pass, he can handle it, and all those good things. But to also show up on defense and use his length there, hopefully he gets those opportunities and makes the most of it as well.
I lost my train of thought what I was going to say next, what I was talking about. But with that combined, a win against Purdue is needed. Have you seen? I haven't seen Purdue play a lot this year, but they've had their struggles as well. Gave up a big lead early on in the season against Miami in the Big Ten ACC Challenge, and I think they've kind of struggled, but they seem to have found themselves here lately. They were kind of like Indiana, didn't really have a set lineup. But they seem to have fallen into that. Mason Gillis, young guys playing well for them. They've got a lot of guys that are playing well for them as well. Stefanovic, how you say his name?
Stefanovic.
Just a mainstay for the Boilers.
Yeah. So I've watched a couple, not like whole games or anything like that, but as you said, they struggled a little bit early on. They lost a big lead to Miami, but the games that I have been able to watch little clips of. Stefanovic or however you say his name, he's their guy who he's shooting the ball really well, so we got to make sure we don't let him get going. But also the big guy, I don't know their names, but they have a big guy who can really pass the ball down low. And then they had a really athletic wing who kind of just made plays defensively and got to the rim in the game that I watched. So we just got to stay focused, know their personnel, don't let them get easy looks, and don't let their physicality disrupt our flow and what we want to do. We got to counter that first punch that they're going to throw. It's a game of runs. So just be able to withstand that and create our own energy.
The one thing I think Indiana's also struggled with is getting off to good starts. They seem to keep coming from behind a lot, and that takes a lot of energy when you do that, and it's just not as much left for you in the legs at the end. In that 15th round.
Yeah, that's never fun. I mean, maybe, when you're down, you're like, oh, we better turn it on now. But, it's way better, like you're saying, to get that going from the very get-go, being ready from the jump, from the tip. Again, it's a game of runs, so every good team is going to make that. But we got to be able to counter that. Or if you see that we haven't scored in, 3 or 4 or 5 possessions, we need to get a good set, make sure we get the ball where we wanted to, execute, be fundamental and get those plays done. We can't allow ourselves to just get stagnant and just play an up and down game, up like a track meet and not getting anything that we want. So we got to be able to do that and handle that.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Did you see that Tom Allen, American Football Coaches Association, National Coach of the Year, he got that award yesterday.
Let's go. I retweeted that. That's awesome. Awesome accomplishment. Obviously didn't end the way that all of us wanted it to. I didn't get the chance to watch that game. Unfortunately, I had a game at the same time, but it's a well-deserved award, and we're excited for him and all of Hoosier Nation's behind him, and excited for what's to come next year.
Yeah, man, I was talking about that earlier with the guys. Next year, Indiana is going to be I think that they're going to be a preseason top 10 team. ESPN came out with their way too early top 25, which had them at number 10. And then Iowa is right there around number 12. Indiana opens at Iowa. They're 3 games into the season. Cincinnati comes to Indiana. Cincinnati is a possible top 10 team. So we're looking at college game day maybe in Bloomington, man. That would be so cool to see that happen. But it's going to be a rocking place, but it's going to be a fun football season. Then I haven't even mentioned Ohio State and Michigan yet. So look, that tells you how much excitement there is. You're 3 games in, and you're talking about the 2 of the first 3 games. That does usually happen for Indiana.
No, that's a good sign when you didn't even mention Ohio State or Michigan, and we still got a great strength of schedule there. And we're going to continue to support Coach Allen. What his coaching staff. We've seen the rewards of all their hard work this year, so I don't have any indication that it wouldn't be that way the next year as well. So for us to have that opportunity to defend the Rock and hopefully get a college game day in Bloomington, that'd be awesome and a big step for the program for sure.
Absolutely, Jordan. I can't thank you enough for joining us. Also, baby Margaret, can't thank her enough for joining us, and Aubrey for taking care of everybody. Appreciate you guys so much.
No problem. Thanks for having us. We'll be back.
I can't wait. We'll do it again next week. Bye, baby Margaret. Appreciate her making her international debut, and appreciate you guys most of all as well for listening to us. Thanks a lot to Zach Osterman for joining us today, as well as Kyle Neddenriep, Indiana Sports Writer of the Year. Always with us. We appreciate him as well. Hey, we'll be back tomorrow. Don't forget after the game with Todd Leary, after the Purdue game. I'm going to have to figure out how we're going to do that one, Jordan. I think I may have to do it from the parking lot of Assembly Hall. It's a 9:00 game, so it won't be till after 11, but we'll be there as well. But back tomorrow as well right here. Make sure you tune in. Hey, wear your mask. Do something nice for somebody. And until tomorrow, I'm Jim Coyle. I'll see you on the radio. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.